ask me why. Don't ask me why. I told you once before that I don't know. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why.
So, joining us for our first Ade Asks interview for a week, we have another long-serving player, and it's my delight to say that coming on today is Guy Hollis. Guy, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Ade. Yeah, good. Good, thank you. Good to be here. Good to speak to you.
Good. I know you're very busy at the moment, so thank you for fitting us in.
No problem.
And a bit of modelling going on, is that what it is?
A bit of modelling. You know, Sue wants her calendar.
Oh, he's already jumped to the question. I've already got that one. Oh, blimey.
No,
we
I'm
know
joking.
what that one is.
No. Busy with work, which is good, especially in current times, so I can't complain.
Right. We're going to start talking about your early career. So you were Ashford Town first.
Yeah, Ashford Town.
As a 17-year-old, that was quite an experience.
Yeah, broke into the team at 17. So I was there as a kid for youth team when pretty much all my life. Well, no, it was Halliford Colts, then Ashford. And then when it just got to about youth team level, I had a trial at Southampton at the 16s. That wasn't successful, so then came back to Ashford for the youth team. Played in the youth team and then crept up into the reserves. And then, made it to the first team at 17, which was, it was an experience in the Ryman Prem at 17. But, it was good.
I was going to say, it must have been quite hard for you as a 17-year-old up against all these seasoned, semi-pros.
Yeah, it was a good experience. And I say that. I think I was probably bigger and stronger at 17 because I had more time to go to the gym, and these days it seems to slack off. But it was a really good experience. And I missed a bit out there. I did actually go to Aldershot for a little bit at 17, but then just sort of saw the setup there, and they'd just gone into League Two. So it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, I think, down in the lower leagues of professional football. So I quickly left after about 3 months and then went back to Ashford, and that's when I filtered back into the youth team and the reserve team. And then I think I've been back about 3 weeks, and Mark Butler was the manager at the time, and he's ex-Aldershot, so I was sort of on his radar a little bit. And he came down to a reserve team game on the Tuesday night, which I think we played Harrowborough away. And he stayed around after the game and signed me, and then I ended up making my debut on the Saturday after, which was a bit of a shock. But it was good. And then never looked back since.
And then you moved to Godalming. How did that come about?
I think so. I went from Ashford to Carshalton. So I followed Mark Butler there, and then he was looking at getting the Margate job, which I think he got. And there was a group of players that he wanted to take with him, but it was just too far for me. I think he wanted me, Warren, there was a few others, but we just thought, the journey down to Margate, when you're sort of 17 years old is probably not the right decision to make at that point. So Bakes and Unders were calling. I think he was getting the team together there with Clergy and they'd just got the job. And he brought a little cluster of players from the area that we live over to Godalming. So it just seemed like the right decision at the time, and get back to playing with friends and things like that. So it was a good move for me, definitely. It
was definitely a good move for you, because I think that you scored the goal of your career.
I did.
Scoring against Slough.
I know, I did that. And that was, if you see the celebrations in the video, I think I was the only player who hadn't scored, or I think it was the second season and I still hadn't scored a senior goal. I think I took a throw in and it was headed out. And then I think I got the rebound volley on the half volley or something. It was a great goal, but haven't scored one like that since, to be honest.
Well, I didn't want to bring that up, but so you moved across to Slough with Bakes and Unders. Was it a change of? Did the setup change for you from Godalming, which is fairly a smallish club, to Slough, which again was fairly small, but the expectations at Slough may be a little bit higher?
Yeah, and I think the expectation and the pressure was there because we'd had playoffs of 2 previous seasons with Godalming, and I know that Steve Bateman left and Slough were pushing, and I think they saw Bakes and Unders as the people that would probably get them there. So we had that extra bit of pressure, and I think after the 2 seasons of coming so close with Godalming, I think we all, as a group of players as well, had the pressure on ourselves to actually make it third time lucky. And yeah, I mean, when we were 2-0 down against Kettering, I was like, God, have we blown it again? But yeah, we turned it around, and that was a special season, I think, for everyone involved. But yeah, no, it was I think there was a bit more pressure, even from just ourselves, and coming into the Slough setup. I think there was a lot more pressure from fans, and people a bit wary. They had players that they were watching for a few years that had obviously exited, and there's a whole new group. So there was that added pressure from the fans as well, which I think Godalming was more of a homely club at first, and they were just pleased that we were there and successful at the time. And yeah, the Slough fans, they took a bit of time to warm to us, but I think we're hopefully there now, sort of 10 years or 6 years later, 7 years later.
Did it help though that you were with a group of players who you knew from Godalming and you knew could perform well, and you took the expectation as a team rather than as certain individuals?
Yeah, I think it massively helped, because I think you see now as well that even at the level we're at now, the team has been together for a few years, and there's been a consistent group that are there for sort of 3 or 4 years at a time, and that sort of molds your success, and you gel as a team, and each season you learn more. And I think we took the learnings from the 2 seasons at Godalming and brought that to Slough, added in a couple more players. Shawnee Fraser was there, and Ed Smith was there at the time as well, good goal scorer, and I think that just helped elevate the bits that we were missing at Godalming. We sort of merged with Slough, and we had the solution to promotion that year.
And how was it for you? Because at the time when you came to Slough, you were still quite young. You've moved from the step 4 to step 2. Have you found it easy to take that step?
To be honest, I feel like I've grown with the leagues as well. Like you say, I think I must have been 19, 20 or so when I was down at step 4. And then as I've grown, we've had the promotions within sort of 5-6 years. So I was growing and improving as a player as we went through the leagues, and you get stronger, you get more wise to the game, you get more experience, you play with better players, so the training improves. So I think it's been like a journey through the leagues as I would progress anyway as a footballer. So it was like almost like a natural progression. I think now we're at the step 2. It suits my game more now where I'm at, in terms of experience, and I think I'm fairly athletic for a defender, so hopefully I can keep hold of that for a bit longer. Otherwise, I'll be out the door. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a natural progression, and the time at step 4 as a young player did me well to sort of learn, and I probably am up near 500 senior games now, so that added experience helps at the level that you're at. No matter where you played those games, it's still experience of playing football. So, and
how much does it help having such a good background with the team behind and off the pitch helping as well? Because that's the part that fans don't see, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of the team, the playing staff and the coaching staff, or the wider sort of.
Yeah, the whole thing that what you've got is the clubs have grown with you as well.
Yeah, that's it. And Ashford, I remember I look back at 17, they were punching well above their weight, getting sort of 80 fans in the Prem. They were on a shoestring budget. I think I was paid sort of £14 when I was playing, £20 less tax when I was playing my first games at 17, which for me was, a bit of beer money. But, the development through the levels and the clubs that we're at now, that's helped the progression definitely. Slough's a much bigger club now, a new stadium, and it's sort of geared up to the level, and they make your life as easy as possible at that level, I think, and Slough's a great club at doing that. So I think as we've gone through the leagues, it's been valuable, very valuable.
Is there a downside though from going up through the leagues? Because obviously, like you say, maybe your time is a little bit more spent because there's a lot more pressure on you. You're playing at a higher level. There's more travelling. Is that kind of the downside of being at step 2? Yeah,
and you have to stop drinking on Friday. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls, and that's with age as well. No, I think there is a higher expectation, and we're getting near to 1,000 fans now each week, and there's that level of commitment that you have to give because, people are paying to watch you play. And, as silly as it sounds, and as the level we're playing, people still, that's their day out, and people are traveling across the country. So you have a level of expectation on yourself that you have to give something back. And as you go higher, that expectation only grows. And, it's something you have to deal with. And the intensity's increased. And Bakes and Unders, where at Godalming, they were probably more involved with the squad and from a more of like a friendship standpoint, and now more of a manager. And, that took a bit of time to adjust to as well as we're at Slough, and gone through the leagues. It's very much more focused on the football rather than the social side of things, which is a good thing. It's only a good thing.
But you still have your social nights out, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm probably one of the worst at having a night out, and I've probably got a few stories which I could maybe share. But yeah, Bakes and Unders probably still scratch their head with me at times, and I probably don't do myself any favours. But, I'm there, I'm committed, and it is a bigger commitment at this level, but it's one that I enjoy, definitely.
And is it difficult? Have you changed your job recently?
Yeah. So I'm a chartered accountant by trade, and while I was training to get qualified through my exams and stuff like that, I'd have to take time off or whatever. And it was quite a hard commitment. I'd be working, then going home studying, then going to games and training in the evening. And it was pretty tough at first. And then I moved to BP, which involved a lot of travel. So I'd be away for sort of 1-2 weeks at a time. I'd have a run of games in the team and then call Bakes up and be like, I've got to travel for 2 weeks to China, and, it's put them in some difficult positions, but, they've been really understanding. And yeah, so now I'm doing my own thing with my girlfriend. We create brands for like influencers and people like that, and we actually help themselves build a brand and get that off the ground and launch it. But now I'm in control of my own time. It makes juggling football and things a lot more easier, and I can sort of manage the travel aspect and be more dedicated, which is good at this level.
How difficult is it when you're working for a big company to turn around and say, well, I need a Monday night off to travel to Frome or anything like that? Is it difficult as because that's your main job? It must be quite hard to find a company that understands that.
Yeah, I mean, BP were good to an extent, but I guess I had a bit more freedom, that I was in control of my own time there. But there's been times when I was at my previous company training, and you sort of say to them, look, sorry guys, you work until 10, 11 o'clock tonight to finish the job, but I need to hop out at 4:30 to go and play football. And, not everyone understands what football is. They think it's just a hobby. They don't necessarily understand the level that we play at. And it still requires a level of commitment. And, I've had managers in the past, which has probably been detrimental to my career at the time, sort of look around and say, why are you leaving? We've got a team of people working here till midnight, and, you're sort of clocking off at 4:30 to go and travel back from London to train and things like that. And, that's the side that people don't see. And there is difficulties, and, every now and then people will miss games for work because it is their priority. And it has to be, I think, at this level, and people need to understand that. And I think they do to the extent that everyone knows we have commitments outside of football as well.
Do you think that maybe fans don't take it as much for granted? Because I said to Sean, if you're busy at work and you've got a lot on, and then you come and you have a game and your mind's maybe not on it because you've got so much on, and you make a mistake, the fans are immediately on your back.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for it, because you've got a life to live. You've got a job you've got to do.
Yeah, definitely. And we're the same as you guys. The fact that we're playing football, we're not professionals. We're not dedicated to football, solely. We respect and love the fans being there, and football at our level would be nothing without the fans. And yeah, people, they don't see that, and it's very easy to forget that the people they're watching on the pitch haven't just come from a day's work, and hard graft, that have the stresses of bills and work and everyday life. Pros, it's a different story, isn't it? They're there to train and play football, and they're pretty well remunerated. They don't need to worry about other things like that, bills and stresses. And it can be frustrating at times when they're on your back, but it is part of it. And I think some of the younger players might take that a bit differently, but to us now, it's just part of it. But yeah, there's definitely something to be said about we are just normal people. We're coming to play because, one, we love it, and two, it's a good distraction from our own everyday lives that we do have. So yeah, that's what.
So if Slough were to be promoted to the National League and all that travelling, is it something that you'd look forward to, or is it something that you'd be kind of having to turn around?
I don't think Bakes and Unders will be sending a contract my way for the league above, but yeah, I'd be open to it. I think I definitely would now. Now I've got my own business and in charge of my own time. 100%, I'd love to do it, because that was my ambition, to get to the highest level of non-league, have your name on your shirt. Even if I just do pre-season and get the shirt, that's fine. I can stuff after that. But if Bakes and Unders would have me up there, then yeah, I'd definitely give it a crack for a season, just to try your luck.
Right. You mentioned the fact that you played a number of games. I want to kind of bring two to your mind. The first one would be that first game at Arbor Park. Did you, as players, understand how much it meant to the fans, what that game meant, being back in Slough?
I think as a group we did, and I think we spoke before the game as well about how much it meant to be playing football back in Slough. I think we'd only experienced a season and a half at Beaconsfield, or correct me if I'm wrong, was it 2.5 seasons at
2 and a bit, wasn't it, I think?
2 and a bit. And we knew that, I knew the tendencies before and had looked back and seen what how many fans used to attend games, and we didn't really get that sense at Beaconsfield. It was a bit of a lifeless place, and you could tell that fans were frustrated, and you used to read on the forum about the glory days, and just getting the stadium built and knowing it was coming. I think it was a massive day for the fans, and it was a bloody hot day for the players. But I remember that bit. But yeah, it was a big day, and we knew what it meant. And did we win 2-1?
2-1, yeah.
Yeah, we did win 2-1. And it was great to cap it off with a win. And I don't think we've looked back as a club since, moving back into that stadium. We've gone from strength to strength. The fans are coming back. The numbers are increasing again. And, the feel-good factor's back, as they say. And I think it's important to continue.
You mentioned that was a hot day. I want to bring another hot day to your attention.
Yeah.
That final playoff at Kings Lynn. What was that like to play in? Because if I remember, was Matt Day went sick the day of the game? Was that right?
Matt Day went sick. There's a funny story about that, actually. I think I'll divulge a little bit. It was on my list of one match I could play again. It came into the top 3. But anyway, yeah. So the playoff game, it was over my birthday weekend. So I think the game was on the Sunday or the Monday. Monday. It wasn't Monday. So it was my birthday on the Sunday or the Saturday. On the Sunday the 4th. Was Sunday the 4th?
I think Friday was the 4th.
Friday the 4th. Yeah. So I went away to the Cotswolds with my girlfriend for my birthday, and Matty Day had played the semi-final, and I was thinking, all right, yeah, I know I'm not going to get the nod because they'd just beaten Kettering. So my girlfriend took me away, so I didn't travel up with the squad. So we were staying away with my girlfriend, and I thought, all right, I'll have a bottle of red wine because it's my birthday, and we had 2 bottles of red wine, and I was like, okay, right, that'll be it. Anyway, I got back late on the Sunday night, ready to drive up on the Monday morning. So me, Josh, and Inzi travelled up on the Monday morning because the squad had all travelled up the night before and what have you. And I was on the way up, and I was in the back of Inzi's car, sort of all cramped up. I got a call from Bakes, and he said, "How do you feel?" I was like, "Fine. Why?" Bearing in mind I'd just been away for my birthday. He's like, "Matty's sick." And I went, "What do you mean Matty's sick?" And he goes, he's pulling out. I was like, "You joking?" Anyway, I had this massive panic attack. I was like, "Oh God, do I add a bottle of wine? Am I going to be all right?" Hot day. Pulled over anyway. I was in the back of the car. Got Josh in the back. I was like, right, I need to get in the front now. Like, stretch my legs out, make sure I'm ready. Then the game was delayed, and we were just sort of standing around in the heat. I was like, oh God, this isn't going to start well. And then they went 1-0 up. And I thought, oh God, here we go. And then we turned it around 2-1. I think I ended up having a good game, marking, was it Gash or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up thinking I had a good game. So that was a story that ended up well. But I don't for 1 minute, I wasn't panicking at first when Bakes called me.
Right. Talking about defensive partners,
Yeah.
you've had quite a few in your time at Slough. I
Yeah.
don't want you to name who the best is, because I think that's a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
But is there a defensive partner that maybe you've had like a connection with, where you know each other are on the pitch? And
Yeah.
is there one that you've got?
I think there's one defender that I used to love playing with, and that was Fowler, because I think we complemented each other's game so well. You know, if you've watched him play, or anyone listening watched him play, they knew how much he'd just love to attack the ball. And I remember the first few games we were playing at Godalming, and did Fowler come to Slough?
He did.
He did, yeah, he did, yeah. The first few games at Godalming, he was playing centre mid, and the way he just jumped up and could head the ball, I said to Bakes, you need to put him at the back. He's useless with his feet, so get him out of the middle. And I said to Bakes, put him at centre half and just see what he's like. And then from there, I just knew wherever he was on the pitch, he was going to run and attack the ball, and I'd just fill in around him. And then we had the pace covering behind, and I think we went one season at Godalming with the first 7 or 8 games of the clean sheets. We were right at the top, and I think that for me was someone that I'd loved playing with, because I just understood that he would go for everything and he knew that I'd get anything in behind. So that was like a really, really good complementing partnership. But then again, since then I love playing with Woos. I think we got it right in the end with the promotion, and Nisbet as well. Like, just from playing with him now for a few years, I think we understand each other's game there as well. Like, really enjoying playing with Birdie as well. He's the most like Fowler that I've come across since playing with. Someone that's just going to attack the ball, and positioning wise just allows me to fill in around him and sort of do the covering. So yeah, I've been lucky and had some good partners, and it seems to make it work. I haven't played with anyone I dislike, so it's great.
Excellent. Right. A lot of the questions that we put out, and I think you've seen some of the questions on social media, but one of the ones is obviously that your ability to throw the ball.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because I'm not sure if you know the story of Rory Delap.
I do know the story.
Obviously I'm
not that young.
No, but he used to be a junior javelin champion, which is where he had the ability to throw the ball from. And apparently at one training session, there was some balls down the side. They all had a competition to see who could throw it the furthest, and he ended up throwing it to the back post every single time. How did you find out that you had this absolute missile of a throw?
Taking that story, and I used to do the discus when I was back at school, and I used to play a bit of rugby, so you were sort of always throwing the ball. You had the ball in your hands and you were sort of throwing a bit. But to be honest, I never know how I came to have it. I remember the one game where since then I've always been tasked with throwing the ball, which was back at Ashford. But yeah, I think I just realised I had a long throw around youth team level at Ashford, and when I went up to the first team after I'd broken in, there was one game away at Sutton when we were playing Sutton United away, and it was cold. I think it was just on the run up, maybe November time. I'd just broken into the first team at Ashford, and we were playing Sutton away against like Doswell and that lot and that mob that were down there at the time, and we were 1-0 up after about 5 minutes from a corner, and then there was a long throw from the left on about 10-15 minutes in, and I just said, I'll take this one. Like, in the first team, just stepped up, let me take this. So it was up on the left, so we took a long throw and we scored from it. So we were 2-0 up after about 15 minutes. And we got one on the right, and Butts, at the time manager, screaming at me, Guy, you're throwing it again, you get up. So I took it again from the right, and then we were 3-0 up after about 20 minutes. And then they were like, right, that's it. Since then, throwing's a lot. And yeah, I think we went on to win 4-2 away from home against Sutton. So for Little Ashford, that was a massive result. And, Paul Doswell was crying about it as usual. And but yeah, that was the one game that sort of sticks in my mind, that the long throws were sort of starting from that point, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Doswell will come up again in a little later question, maybe a little more recent incident with him. I was trying to find if there was a collective name for someone who collects cards. Okay.
Collects cards?
Yeah, because you seem to have a habit of collecting yellow and red cards.
Oh, yellow and red cards, yeah.
But the only thing I could find was people that collect cigarette cards. So, do you know how many yellow cards and red cards you've got in just your Slough career?
What is it? Is it something silly or is it?
No. Just have a guess.
I reckon 5, 6 reds.
5.
5 reds and 20 yellows.
38 yellow cards.
38 yellow. Wow. Sorry. Wow. Do you just like collecting yellow cards? Did you not get many cards on your birthday? Is that do you know
what?
The thing is, I never used to get bookings ever, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if the game's changed. I don't know if my tackling's got worse or what it is. But yeah, I mean, there's yellow. Yeah, there has been a few stupid yellows. I look back to Western-super-Mare where the second yellow was the guy going into the fence, and then that subsequently ended in a red as well. So that was 2 of them. But yeah, that's a shocking stat, to be honest. I didn't know it was that high. But yeah, they must just rack up without me knowing. It doesn't seem like I'm doing anything out the ordinary or wrong. And, you know, I like to go into a tackle. I like to go into a tackle hard, especially if someone on the pitch is giving a bit of jip. You know, I'd make that my target to try and hit him in a tackle. And I think I go in strong and fair a lot of the time. And, you know, just these days, if you look like you've hurt someone, it's a yellow no matter what, even if you've won it fair. And, you know, I remember back when I was breaking in at 17, if you didn't smash the forward and, you know, leave him on the floor, then you're not doing your job. And that, you know, and that in such a short period of time, that's how much it's changed, which is scary. But,
Well,
you know,
just
I'm adapting.
Just to put it into context, Sean has played 332 games and only got 20 yellow cards.
Has he? Wow. He's doing something wrong then, I think.
I think I remember chatting to you after Hungerford away, I think it was last season, you got sent off.
Did I?
Yeah, and you got a yellow card in the first half.
Yeah.
And then you took the guy out down the second half, and you said to me that you didn't remember the first yellow card.
No, I didn't. And the first yellow card, I remember now. The guy, it was on the halfway line, and I think the guy pulled me back or something, and it was never a yellow card. Absolutely not. So I think that had got my back up. And I don't know if it was the same player, but yeah, I think, yeah, I remember the Bate scream, "Don't jump in." And I think I don't know if I was ignoring him or trying to wind him up, but yeah, I did. I went flying in. There's times that frustrations get the better of you, and I think being a defender, you're always on the receiving end of a cocky forward or something like that, and you just want to make your mark in the game, I guess. And that may be getting a yellow might be like me scoring a goal. That might be it.
I was just wondering if maybe there was some kind of like yellow card bonus, like a secret defenders club that we don't know about. Yeah,
well, it's funny actually. We used to get fined at Godalming, I think, for getting a yellow card. We had to pay for it, so maybe that's a reason why I was saving them all up for Slough. But no, there's nothing behind it. I feel they're unjust. That's my stance.
We've spoken about some of the games that you've been in. Do you prefer the promotion or do you prefer the FA Cup game?
Promotion, 100%. I think the FA Cup game was there was such a big hype about it, and there was, you know, I remember talking about it for weeks with people at work, selling tickets and, you know, being on TV and name on the back, but it seems to just pass in an instant. And, you know, there's not that remembrance and that feeling of elation. You know, we got to the first round, great, but then we got absolutely pummeled by Rochdale. So it was like it wasn't a fairy tale ending, whereas the season, you work all year for it and you always look back on it as a huge success, whereas getting to the first round, yeah, it's great. And it's something that you'll want to do as a career, but getting promotion, there's just nothing like it, especially through the playoffs, and to get it twice has just been mental. And, you know, who knows, it could be another year this year, but yeah, nothing beats promotion, 100%.
So which is your best promotion moment? Is it Kettering away or Kings Lynn away?
I think the Kettering game probably for me, because being 2-0 down at half time, the group of lads we were with, you know, sort of coming to Slough and there being a bit of negativity around the group of players at the time. You know, and for us as a group of players, for a lot of us, it was the third time we'd got there and we were just 2-0 down at half time thinking, God, we're going to blow it again. you know, and to sort of come out with promotion was just incredible. And I think that really cemented us with the fans and how they felt about us. And, you know, really, you know, I know Bakes and Unders got a bit of stick in the first season, and, you know, getting rid of some of the players, which a lot of the fans, you know, really enjoyed watching and had loyalty to the club. But for us to do that, I think it really set us on our way, and we've never looked back. And I think that for me was probably the promotion that I'd look back on more fondly. Definitely.
Right, let's move on to some of the ones that people like. Best ground that you've ever played at?
I mean, in my low career of step 4 and 3 and 2, I reckon the best ground is probably Torquay, which isn't very exciting, but still a nice ground.
Yeah, it's a good ground. It's nice.
Yeah.
It was nice there. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, the result was shocking, but it's the worst game I've ever played in, but the best ground I've ever been in.
Best player you've played with and the best player you've been against?
Played with, I've got 3 in mind for different reasons. So I think someone that I think's done brilliant is Lee Togwell, from coming into the team and the way he's sort of applied himself, and, you know, the coaching he does and the way he's improved as a player. I sort of admire that, and I think that's, you know, that commitment and dedication to improve and sort of stamp his authority in the team has to be admired. Back at Ashford, probably a young Ricky Wellard, just before he'd moved to Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon. I thought he was a great player at that time, and, you know, probably deserves some credit. You know, everywhere I've been, he's been present in pretty much my whole career, from Ashford youth team to Ashford to Godalming to Slough, and, you know, he's always been up there in the awards, so, you know, he must be doing something right as well. So I'd probably say was creeping in there as well.
And what about player against? Best player you've played against?
To be honest, I never take note of players' names and who I'm playing against. I just sort of turn up. I go back to the Torquay game, and collectively as a unit, that I know we were down to 10 men, but I came off that pitch like, wow, that was something else. You know, that was a real beating, and I think for me, I just came off that pitch exhausted, and I was like, this is terrible, just get me out of here. So I probably couldn't name you a player, but I'd say that experience was the worst of my life, so they must have been pretty good.
Right. Okay, so one of the ones that we've got from a fan is, would you get a Slough Town FC tattoo? Or have you most probably got one? You might have one, I don't know. As
much as Slough Town have done for me, and I've enjoyed being at Slough, sadly, no, I'm not going to get a Slough Town tattoo. To be honest, if I could get rid of the tattoo on my arm, I would. You know, I'm past that sort of stage. It was a young mistake, and sadly stuck with it. So that's the view on tattoos.
So when we opened up the questions for you, you've obviously got one. I don't know whether to say fan or admirer or stalker or whatever. But Sue from the club shop,
she's brilliant.
Obviously, she's a big fan of yours. Now, I've got a tick list, and you've got to tell me if you've done these. Have you given her a topless Guy Hollis calendar?
It's in the post.
Valentine's Day card?
A Valentine's Day card?
Yeah.
Sue did once, I'm sure, receive a Valentine's card from a question mark. That could have been me, who knows?
What about a restraining order?
No, absolutely not. I always give Sue a hug. She's lovely.
And is it quite disappointing, because Sue is your shirt sponsor and she has been for a while.
Yeah.
How difficult is it for you when you're in the dressing room after a game and she stood there shouting at you to get your shirt off so she can see your topless body?
No, she's brilliant. She makes me laugh. And, you know, Sue's one of the characters that, especially when, you know, my early time at Slough, when I had the part of my career, I guess, where my mum was sick and, you know, sadly passing away, God bless her. But Sue was one of the people that was sort of around at the time and was always there to ask if I was all right. And, you know, she's always been supportive. And, you know, it's quite nice to have a figure that, I guess, shows an interest after a time like that. So it's, you know, she's a great person and, you know, bless her. She was always giving me a hug and smiling. So, yeah, I really appreciate that and what she does around the club as well.
Is it nice having that as a player? You know, you've got someone who's, spent their own money each
Yeah.
year sponsoring your kit, comes up and talks to you, and someone that you can relate to as well.
Definitely, and I think it makes your time there feel appreciated as well. I think people can hop around clubs, and I found a place which is, I don't know if I'll play for another team after Slough, who knows, but I think it's nice to just feel appreciated, and the fact people are spending money and appreciate you there is such a warming feeling, I think, to be at a club and have that. So, I see some of the clubs that abuse their players, and I could just think, there's better places to be, and Slough's one of the better places, I think.
Yeah, you're quite well loved the 2015-2016 season. I think you swept the honours board in that season. Didn't you get young player, players player, managers player, supporters player that year?
Yeah, I think that was the season. I think we'd just gone up, wasn't it? Is that the season after?
I think it was the season after.
Yeah, and I think we were really struggling as a team to sort of get to grips with that level. So I think the highlight was just probably on me, because we were doing a hell of a lot of defending, and maybe I stood out at the time because we were struggling and picking the ball out the net, and I was probably more involved than I am now. So that's probably why I got the awards. But yeah, the light's shining, on the forward players these days. We're doing a lot better going forward, and I think that was just a season that I was probably more involved in games than I am nowadays, just purely because the team's improving. So I can't take too much credit for being a stand-up player in terms of technical ability and that, but I think I was just tasked with doing more than normal. So,
right. One of the questions that we asked Sean was, you need to name a six-a-side team with people that you've played with, but you can't have any of the current squad.
From Slough?
Anyone that you've played with, so just any six-a-side team with anyone, but no one from the current squad.
Okay, I did it from Slough, because you did show me some questions before, so I have had some time to think. So I did it from Slough purely, from our teams. So I had Mark Scott in goal. I think he was great for us at the time, and put himself on the line, busted his neck up, and so I think he deserves some credit to be in the team. Then I had me and Fowler at the back, purely just for the partnership that we spoke about. I'm not sure if technically Fowler's the right person, but I've got to give him some loyalty for a five-a-side team. Definitely Clergy's got to be in there just for his engine, getting up and down the five-side pitch, six-a-side pitch. Got Dobbo in there for the quality, really someone that's going to score some goals. And then finally, it was a toss-up between Ed Smith and Johnny Dyer. Both good finishers, but I think Johnny Dyer probably wins it just on his work rate, because I think Ed's probably going to stand around moaning at times, and you probably just want someone to get on with it. But yeah, either of those two, it's a toss-up. But yeah, I played with some good players at Slough, and I miss the old times at times, but we're moving forward, and that's that.
I want to ask you about one of your picks in Jamie McClurg, because Sean did exactly the same. As he picked one midfielder, and he picked Jamie McClurg. Do you guys, as footballers, see someone totally different that maybe the fans see? Because he wasn't, he's not tall. He's not gonna. Yeah. He kind of goes through the games a little bit like Lee Togwell. Mm. He does so much, but if you're not watching him, you don't see it. That's
it, and that's why, especially as a defender, when you've got a player in front of you that's just running, and you see a man spare, and they get there and they intercept the ball, and I think a lot of that work goes unnoticed. The dirty work does, and players are always going to notice the flair players out on the wing putting crosses in, and the goal scorers, and the fullbacks that are bombing on, and Wellesley with his crossfield passes and things like that. They're the players that are going to get noticed, but they're not the players necessarily that are going to win you the game. It's the people that are doing the hard work to get the ball back for those guys to shine. And I think they always go under the radar, but 9 times out of 10, I pick one of those in my team before all of those first, especially at a first pick. And Clergy, he scored in the Kettering game, didn't he?
He did.
He should be a legend. He should be a legend. But I had another 2 seasons with him at Godalming, so that my decision might be biased in that sense. But I've seen what he can do, and he's still doing it now to an extent down at Binfield, and I know it's a lower level, but he must be knocking on 40. I don't know. I'm joking. I don't know how old he is, but it's just an engine, and you need the engines because they allow the other people to go on and play their game.
You mentioned earlier, we did say if you could play one game again, what game would it be? And you said you had 3. We know what one of them is.
I had 4, so it would potentially be the Kettering game for obvious reasons, the Kings Lynn game for obvious reasons. The first game I mentioned was I'm losing my train of thought here. So the Kings Lynn game, the Kettering game, probably my debut for Ashford, which came about so suddenly. That was, I was signed on the Tuesday, played on the Saturday, 17. We went on to beat Billericay 5-1 that day as well. And it was me and Billy Jeffries. I was 17, he was 18. So it was a young partnership, and we were sort of both thrown into the deep end. But yeah, we came out of that as a 5-1, which was pretty special. And I think that set me up to go on to play. And the 4th game would be the Merthyr Slough game, which I think is probably everyone's sort of game which they look back to in terms of drama and sort of, excitement. And, I'll tell you what, the first half I looked at Niz and we were 4-0 down, and I just looked at him and started laughing. I was like, what the hell is going on? And, to come back and win 5-4, the forward player's done us a job. And, as bad as we felt when we were 4-0 down as a defensive partnership, thinking that everything was going to go wrong, we were scared when the ball came near us. I said to Niz, I was like, I don't want the ball anywhere near us, because everything that was going wrong went wrong. It was bouncing over us, it was slippy, it was wet. And then to pull it back and win 5-4, I think was just insane. And, I still remember now people tweeting me pictures of like betting slips where people were throwing all their money on Merthyr to win at 4-0 and then Slough go away and win 5-4. And, it caused a lot of hype, and I just think it was insane. It was mental. And I don't think you'll get another game like that. I don't think I'll play in another game like that. And it's just going to be probably one to remember, and one that, first half aside, I would love to be in again, just to feel that elation of scoring the goal after goal.
And of course, you could have been 5-0 down at half time, because in the first half, the ball at the end hit the inside of the post and bounced into Jack's hand. So
it could have been worse.
And there was.
I'm sure we would have got a 6. We would have got a 6.
There was a Slough fan at half time who actually bet on Slough to win at 4-0 down, and obviously won at 28-1.
Wow. But yeah, no, it was a crazy game, and I think even that got us a bit of, publicity. And I just think since I've been at Slough, we've sort of grown the image of Slough and from the FA Cup, and we've been out in the media, and I think they're growing as a club, and if it continues on, I'm sure Slough will progress and get to where they want to get to.
Right, we've got some quick fire fun ones for the end of the interview. If you could be on any TV show, what TV show would you be on?
Oh God, The Chase.
Okay. Who would play you in the Guy Hollis story in a Hollywood blockbuster?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Now, you see, I've got an issue here because...
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
No. Have you ever seen the programme The Arrow?
No.
Well, you see, you are the spitting image of the lead character, Stephen Amell.
Oh, really? It's good-looking guy, is he?
When you
I have to look at him.
You have a look at it. Literally, you are spitting image.
Really?
What you might have, if you've not seen, it's a really good TV program, but you are spitting image of him.
I'll look him up.
He would be that one. Chicken Korma or Cameron Karma?
Chicken Korma.
Not Cameron Karma Kings Lynn.
What's that? No,
what? You know the right back from Kings Lynn.
Oh.
Cameron
Karma. Cameron Karma, yeah, definitely 100%. I wonder where he is now. Is he still playing?
I think he went to somewhere like Oxford United, I believe.
That was a funny time, man. I didn't get booked for that as well. That was I got away with that one.
And the final question that we ask you is this. Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized Kings Lynn players or one Kings Lynn-sized player duck?
10 duck-sized Kings Lynn players.
Yeah, well, Sean is the only one to go for a Kings Lynn-sized player duck. All of you want to take on 10. I think you just want to kick these.
Just kick the ducks. You can't control it. Ducks can go out of control, especially when a geese is flying at you. That's big enough.
Brilliant. Guy, thank you very much for spending some time
cheers,
with us this evening. It's really great to catch up with you. Please stay safe. Good luck with your job. And
thank you.
See you on the pitch soon.
And you. Stay safe, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Cheers.